How you bums doing? Y'all good? I haven't used any of this equipment in like a couple of months, so you're gonna have to let me know if things are working. Like, how's the audio? Listen to this. Listen to this sick Bob combo. How's the audio? Does that sound about right? Is the game loud? Am I too low? Don't lie though. You guys always lie when I ask for help. Audio good? Hey, thanks, man. A bit quiet? Who, me? Or the game? Raven Pines, you went to Japan and came back? Damn. Just a bit quiet. Me or the game, though? The game is a bit quiet. Okay. That's easily fixed. Turn it up a bit. There we go. Hey, Raven Pines, what was Japan like? Did it live up to your expectations? I don't think it ever does for weebs when they go to Japan, because they think it's gonna be, you know, all they think. I mean, here's the truth about weebs, and this is sad, but it's, I mean, it's, you know how some people live with like a realization that they don't want to come to for most of their life, and it's just looming, and they avoid looking at it directly because the truth is so painful. Here's the truth. Weebs who dream about going to Japan are secretly, at least subconsciously or in the sort of back of their heart, think that Japan is anime. And then they go there because that's where anime comes from. But it isn't anime, you know, it's a real place. And then you go there and there aren't, you know, pink-haired, giant boob pirates flying around, you know, looking for nakamas to go on an adventure, and the new transfer student at your prestigious high school, you know, isn't going to end up living with you and 6 of her sexy friends, right? That's not what happens. You come there and it's just, I mean, you don't come there, but you get there and it's just an airport, you know? And now you have to get into a taxi and find a hotel. And it's not anime at all. And so I think 2 things can happen. You either start liking the real Japan for like what it is, and you fall in love with what Japan actually is, or all of your dreams shatter, the spaghetti falls out of the fanny pack, and now you just wasted, you know, at least $1,000 on airline tickets that you're not going to be able to get back because you can't call Delta and go, hey, I want to get money back for my ticket because I got 0 waifus this entire holiday, right? The countryside, you know what's interesting? I lived in Japan for like a decade, but I never spent time in the countryside. And now I have, because, you know, my fiance is from like a small town. And her mother is like even from a tiny island with like a population of a couple hundred people. So I've spent time in the Japanese countryside more, and it's really nice. But that's also like a world that I never really interacted with. It's cool though. Uksam, shishie. People start smiling on weekends. Yeah. I mean, I hope you liked it. Hey, Raven Pines, do you want me to kick your ass in this shitty game? It's an isolating experience, would you agree? No, we've talked about this before. I have heard a lot of people say that they find it to be isolating to be in Japan as a foreigner, but it's only isolating to be there if you don't speak the language. if you do speak the language, then it's not isolating at all, because then you're just another person and you can talk to everybody and you can integrate as much as you want. Hey, look, a match in this dead game. You're jet lagged. Hey, nice excuse. Do you have cold feet too? Bitch. Alright. Well, when you're out of excuses, come find me in online. I wasn't even gonna like play T7. I just wanted something on in the background. We'll play this we'll play this really cool Mishima boy right here, who has a cool name. And then we're actually gonna like go online and do some react content like a real YouTuber. And you know, maybe I'll give my take on Israel-Palestine. Who knows? Maybe I'll respond to the allegations. Like all the other real YouTubers, you know? Because apparently, you know, you need to like... Let me focus up and kill this fucking idiot, okay? Is he gonna perfect me? He is. That's fine though. I'm just getting the lay of the land, you know? And I also haven't played Tekken in like 6 months, so be cool, okay? Get so owned! I blocked the hell sweep, you know? Those instincts are still there, all those years later. I still know how to fuck a Mishima boy in the ass and take no prisoners. Because he's trash. Oh no, that's a launch. He hell sweeped me back instead of launch punishing? This guy's trash. And he's calling me out. Get so old. This guy's trash. Get fucking shat on, bitch. Your character's fucking broken and easy. Fight. Where's the hell sweep? He keeps walking the running move. I should stop doing it. He can rage art. Yeah, okay. This guy's trash and I'm kicking his ass, but he got lucky. The game's also trash.
Great. Final round. Fight.
Electric's so fucking easy to do, dude. Good block. Ooh, you're so trash! And your mom turns tricks for like $5, dude. Well played.
You win.
GG's. That's the first Tekken match I've played in, I don't know, like a year. Get fucking owned, dude.
Round one. Fight.
Yeah, I'm better at blocking hell sweeps now than when I was actually playing Tekken. That's hilarious.
Perfect.
Dude.
Round two. Fight.
Nice whiff punish, dude. Oh, this game's trash. that's not how you do that. That's not how you do that. Let me show you how to do an electric. You're supposed to hit your opponent with it, not whiff like a bitch. You'll get it eventually. Keep practicing. Oh, he's breaking throws now too. That's hilarious, dude. Like, not playing this game at all or giving a fuck about it for like a year is apparently really good for your fundamentals. So, you know, please ignore every guide I ever made. Don't practice. Oh, I almost feel bad for the guy, dude. Feel free to not take the revenge match, dude. Tekken as a culture is dead, so there's no stigma attached anymore. Actually, I encourage you to not take the revenge match and go, like, you know, do something with your life instead. But, you know, if you want to get, you know, your fucking ass blasted again, I'll oblige.
Round 1. Fight.
Nice. Okay, spaghetti all over the round, but you know, whatever. Yeah, you know, owned and stuff. Okay, my trash talk is a bit rusty. My Tekken is fucking amazing right now, but my trash talk is a little bit rusty because I haven't been doing this as much. Okay. Yeah, finish the string like a little bitch. Where's the hell sweep? Nice counter hit, dude. Good dodge. Trash punish. That's so lucky!
Round 3. Fight.
Oh, that's so... They're still like panicking into lightning screws, dude.
Fight.
This game isn't even like played anymore, and the Deviljins are still fucking panicking into lightning screw, dude. It's like they're in purgatory. That's a failed hell sweep. You guys can tell, right? Where's the electric? He's gonna electric. Yeah, I remember what this feels like. Tekken used to be pretty cool before it was all, you know, microtransactions and horny fucking cosplay. It's a shame that they killed it, you know? It had some... we had some cool times with this trash game before it became, you know... It became so trash that the people Namco were paying to say it wasn't trash had to admit it was trash, and then they all got fired.
Round 1.
But, you know, never mind.
Fight.
Next patch is gonna fix it all. Nice. Nice. Okay.
Round 2. Fight.
Authoritarianism? I don't think it's necessarily authoritarianism, dude. I think it's a bunch of washed up old dudes who fucking suck ass at marketing and Tekken. Trying to, you know, market Tekken.
KO. Round 3. Fight.
The most German laugh ever. I'm not sure that's a compliment, dude.
KO.
Hey, I'm fucking good at this.
Round
It's like
4.
I've played this game before.
Fight.
Nice. Okay. Hey, what's up, Medusa? Have you abandoned this game as well? You know, we're gonna talk about it, but something really funny happened. I sometimes still will check in with Tekken Reddit, just to see if, you know, something's going on with the culture. There never is, but there was this really funny post where a guy was like, damn, this community has really mellowed out. It used to be all like people complaining about game mechanics, but now it's like people having fun with the culture, posting, you know, cosplays and, you know, what figurines they've bought recently and stuff. And the funny part was he didn't realize the reason it seems like the community online has mellowed out is because everybody who used to care about the game has left now. And so only the customization mode mains are left. And that is so like people are like,
You win.
my Lily cosplay brackets self by me, and if the girl is almost showing her nipples, it's like 700 upvotes, and that's essentially what Tekken as a culture comes down to now. Sometimes people are really thirsty about figurines and cosplay, and that's all that's left. The reason nobody is complaining about game mechanics is that I don't think there's a single person left who plays the game who knows anything about game mechanics.
Round 1.
But you know, they're gonna fix it in the. I heard they're gonna fix it in the July patch. The trade. No! Oh! All according to Keikaku!
KO.
Keikaku. Translators know Keikaku means plan.
Fight.
Keikaku do it. Hey, Panda Shoes, what's up? Don't, why are you donating to, like, washed up retired streamers, dude? I was never a real streamer when I was actively streaming. I guess you were one of my mods, though, so... Or you still are. Thank you so much. I hope everybody's doing well, you know, whatever you're doing instead of playing this, you know, dead trash franchise.
KO.
I'm watching this guy.
Round 3. Fight.
Nice call out. That was a nice call out. The electric clash. His was faster. Not because he is faster, but because his character is more broken. That's how that works. No. He got around. Okay.
Round 4.
Why you bullying the Mishima boy? You know for a fact that this guy goes and, because he's a Mishima boy, takes out his Tekken frustrations on all the little kids in the schoolyard. So I'm just giving him some back. You know? Nice call out again. He's getting better. Yeah. This game's trash. Hey, get on, bitch. This game's trash. Disliking every video you ever made. Hey, good shit, dude. Nobody gives a fuck. I've been ignored for longer than you've been interested. Good games, though. Can you play a little bit more aggressive? Yeah, I guess so. Let's play. I got a Shibu. I'm gonna do a snake edge. I'm gonna do like a full screen snake edge. Oh no! Nice punish, dude. I mean, you spaghetti the combo like a bitch, and now everybody's laughing. Everybody's laughing now. Hey, what's the Eminem song? He's choking now. Everybody's joking now. Oh, not like this, dude. Not like this.
Great. Round 2. Fight. KO. Round 3. Fight.
Oh no. Good parry.
KO. You win.
Hey, Josie, what's up, dude? Missed you, Frame. Happy to see you once more. Hey, thanks, man. Life's been good. Life's been really good. Do you guys want to know what life's been like? Let's not talk about me, by the way. Never mind. I'll kick this guy's ass one more time, and then I'm gonna go react to stuff online like a real streamer. And then I'm gonna write a twit longer and respond to the allegations. Thank you so much, man, and your ridiculous generosity as always.
Round 1. Fight. KO. Round 2. Fight.
The main man is so off-putting to listen to with his annoying Swedish accent. Why you got to be a hater then? Just relax and enjoy the game, but don't play any waifus because they're too shit. I'm blocking all the hell sweeps, dude. This guy is shitting himself. It's like I have fucking... I didn't block a hell sweep for like 10 years of playing this game. Now I've blocked like 5 in a row.
Fight.
Oh no, that's not the punish. Where's the house sweep? Get up 4, bitch. I knew it was gonna work too. I fucking read this book yesterday, dude. Get on.
Fight.
Good punish. Oh no, spaghetti.
KO. You win. I'll fight you anytime.
Hey, what's up, John? Dude, all the OGs showing up. It's so nice to talk to you guys again. Do you guys want to react to Israel and Palestine and, you know, get hella views and then buy a mansion in LA and then lose it all because of allegations, like all the real streamers? React to these nuts. That guy reacted to my nuts. Hey, good game. Nice Devilgen, dude. Play a real character, bitch. Well played. I actually want to look at what are we going to react to today? I'm a react streamer now. Hey, check this out. React to tier lists. Hey, that's pretty cool. Maybe we should do that. Do you guys want to react to tier lists in a game that I don't play? We could do that. I was going to play some Tekken music in the background, but I guess we can just leave it like this. Anyway, my new Oscar Kasama plushie arrived, so that's good. Here are some pictures of the plushie that I just bought. The cool thing about the fact that I bought this and that it arrived in the mail is that it's not embarrassing at all, and it's really cool that I'm, you know, showing it to you guys. And you guys are all excited about the fact that I bought this thing, right? That's my favorite thing about it. It's been 1 month. Damn, John. You tend to be going through rough stuff whenever you come in my chat, dude. I'm really sorry. I don't have anything really that I can say. You know, I'm not an expert on any of that. Just like good luck, I guess. You know. But anyway. This is an article called Toward a Modern Tekken Preserving Identity Expanding Reach. It was written by Dylan. And Dylan wrote this article and then posted it in my comment section months ago, and I didn't see it. And then somebody, for the first time in months, somebody left a comment on one of my videos. And I was just reading old comments, going through them, and I found this, and he like asked me to read it. So let's take a look at it. The first thing I realized when I looked at Dylan's, he's gotten 5 claps, by the way. I'll give him a clap. Never mind, too much work, but you know, whatever. Is that he structured his article on Modern Tekken like a scientific paper. He like starts introducing all of the like definitions that he's going to be using and stuff, which is cool, I guess, if you want to break it down like really technically. But at the end of the day, it's kind of an opinion piece. But if we skip past all of these like definitions that he puts out there, I want to go down to when he actually gets to the Tekken 8 part. And I haven't read all this. I thought we'd do it together and talk a little bit about where the culture is at right now. Now, what's... do I sound low? Do I really? Okay, can I change that? Why didn't you tell me earlier? Fuck you guys. You never, like, tell me when there's stuff wrong with the audio, dude. I'll sit closer to the mic, okay? You don't? Okay, good. So I know that I'm gonna have comments because I'm talking about this from people, because I always did. My last like year of videos was like, why aren't you said you were gonna move on from Tekken, but now you come crawling back. This is me coming crawling back, by the way, not giving a fuck about Tekken or even thinking about it for about 6 months, and then reading an article. I'm officially crawling back now. But I just thought that, you know, this guy wrote this entire huge thing about the game, and he was excited for me to look at it, and I would have if I, you know, saw it at the time. So, you know, let's read it. Games as a product, games as a service. We all know what that means. Tekken Revolution stands as Bandai Namco's first significant experiment with the game as a service model within the Tekken franchise. I'm glad he qualified that, because I don't think it's their first experiment as a company. Something very important to remember about Bandai Namco is that they are primarily a toy manufacturing company, and they make much more money making trading cards and action figures than they do making video games. So they are not creating video games and then, you know, adding a layer of merchandise on top of that. They're actually creating games in order to sell merchandise primarily, which is their main, you know, their main focus. Released in 2013 following the commercial underperformance of Tag 2, Revolution was free to play on PS3 and reused many assets of Tekken Tag 2. It was basically just asset flips from Tag 2, but without the tag mechanic. It had some cool ideas though, and some cool concepts, but you know, it was it got hacked quite quickly, and because you had character stats, people would give themselves like 1 million more damage on Paul, and then they would kill you with one death fist because the game was like broken and hacked, right? Though the game was short-lived and divisive, it revealed early intentions from Bandai Namco to explore alternative monetization models. It served as a prototype both mechanically and economically for ideas that would resurface more than a decade later in Tekken 8. Yeah, it's interesting that 8 feels more like Revolution than 7 did. In retrospect, when we were playing 7, I often refer to that game as being trashed, specifically from like a balancing standpoint. I thought it had really poor and greedy balance, but compared to Tekken 8, it was like completely fucking awesome. Tekken 7 was a great game compared to Tekken 8, so it's, you know, it's all relative. Understanding Tekken Revolution is key to grasping the broader trajectory of the franchise's shift toward monetization-centric design. Monetization-centric design is actually like a pretty good and interesting term, an interesting way to describe it, because I feel like with 8, they thought about how they wanted to monetize it first and then started designing the game, right? If you go back and you look at sales graphs for 7 and 8, they both hit the 3 million copy mark around 1 year of being out. Hey, what's up, Foken? So around 1 year of the game going on sale or being, you know, being sold, they sell 3 million copies. The difference is that 7 then kept on selling millions of copies for many years. It was popular for a really long time, and it ended up selling about 12 million copies. 8 sold 3 million copies in slightly more time, I think, and then as far as I know now, it is actually just bleeding out whatever hollow remnants of its community still remain. And I think the game is, I mean, it still has a player base, but I think it is effectively dead, at least from like a competitive or culture standpoint. If we look at Steam charts today of 8, it's peaking at 6,300 players now on PC. It has never peaked below 7,000 before, so it is officially the least popular it's ever been right now. And if you look at player peaks going back a couple of days here, it actually tends to peak quite a bit below 6,000 players for the most part. So my prediction is that in the next 30 days, Tekken 8 will start peaking at below 6,000 players, maybe even below 5,000 before long, because some of these days it's at 5.3. And that is despite the fact that it's having all of these content updates with completely new characters and stuff. So Tekken 8 is I mean, it's not hurting, it's it's already been I saw somebody make a joke like, you're not kicking a dead horse, the horse has already been cremated. And that's kind of where we're at with 8, right? So I think when you created 7, right, it started out as more of a modest project, but because it had like it was a good intersection between technical depth and difficulty, but still being something that more new players wanted to pick up and try and learn. It then became very popular, and they started gradually introducing additional monetization and additional content into it. And because the community were excited and liking the game, they kept consuming, and the game kept growing. And then over time, I think the monetization became intentionally more greedy, because the first few DLC characters we had weren't necessarily super overpowered. That happened later. And then it became very, very obvious with Leroy. But when you do it the other way around, when you design a game to be monetizable and hyper monetized from the get-go, you're putting the cart before the horse, and it's why the design of 8 felt so jarring to so many people. And I think monetization-centric design might actually be like a pretty good term to describe that. It's like, okay, here's how we're going to parse this content out over the first few years. And these are our sales targets, and all the rest of it, these are all the things that we want to monetize. And it's completely different from making as complete and solid product as possible, and then depending on how well it does, developing new content for it, right? Tekken 7 marked the franchise's first step into a hybrid model between game as a product and game as a service. Initially, it was designed primarily as GOP. Yeah, so 7 is like the transitional stage. I think I agree with that. And they probably made too much money on DLC for their own good. And because the people who make the game aren't... Oh, sorry, I just blocked a message in the chat unintentionally on my phone. I'm sorry if I accidentally banned you or timed you out or something. I did not intend to. But whatever, get owned, bitch. Deluxe editions where you only get the season pass for year 1. Yeah, well, again, that's sort of a symptom of the exact same problem. If you have an initial batch of content and then an ultimate edition that gives you access to all of that, that sort of makes sense. But when you've already started, planning out your second season and all the content that's going to be coming out 2 years from now, but you're putting the game, to market right now, and you're releasing all of these deluxe editions, again, it isn't happening organically or in the right order. And the quality of the game suffers. There's all of this dissonance with the community. It also doesn't help, that the people who make the game really are extremely, extremely bad at market research. They don't understand the community really at all. Harada talks a lot about liking statistics and having an education in statistics. I mean, he basically won't shut up about it, right? But the thing is, when you're just like pulling a bunch of numbers and then interpreting them, when you are fundamentally incompetent on the subject that you're looking at, like Harada might be a competent development head or marketing executive or whatever, but he's not that knowledgeable when it comes to his actual game and the way it works and the way it plays, right? And he's also gradually removed himself further and further from like the hands-on process of developing the game. He's not going to be able to competently interpret all of this data that he's pulling, right? You know, he looks at Gigas and sees that he has a very high success rate or a very high win rate online, and because he doesn't understand that Gigas is trash because he doesn't play Tekken at a competent level, he interprets that as Giga's actually being a better character than he's given credit for. But the whole thing with statistics is you can pull the numbers and they have to be correct, but then you also need all of this knowledge when you interpret them. Otherwise, you can basically twist those figures into meaning whatever you want them to. And when your only window on the community is like some salty exchanges on Twitter, where you've already banned, you know, the vast majority of people actually know what they're talking about, you're going to end up with a very strange and incorrect view of what is actually happening, right? Historically, the Tekken series targeted both casual and competitive players. This was possibly because the games preserved depth and competitive integrity while gradually increasing accessibility. Kind of what I said about 7 earlier, how it was an interesting intersection between those two things. Casual players could have fun without needing to master the game, while competitive players had a high ceiling to strive for, making the game rewarding long term. Yeah, so that's a really good point. And this is something that I was thinking about earlier today, because I was looking at Tekken Reddit, where basically all the posts now are, you know, this is the Oscar plushie that I am coming all over right now, and here are like the other things that I'm, you know, Tekken related things that I'm coming on. That is basically, look, like Nina not safe for work, right? And it's going to be like, you know, Nina Booba art, of course, and then some, you know, meme rounds, more fan art, Reina cosplay, you know, no tits, so she only got 1.3, but there you go. Oh, Lily look of the day, right? So this is Jun fan art. It's very, you know, focused around specifically the female characters, right? And sort of coming, or I guess you kids these days call it gooning in relation to them. And what I realized, like looking at some of this like thirsty fan art, does this have sound?
Baby,
Never mind. Yeah, so oh, damn. Hell yeah. So yeah, this is basically the culture right now, because all of the competitive players have left. And I realized that you can literally have both these parts of the community, the people playing and the people coming. You can have both of them be very happy at the same time, because the people who spend all of their time customizing, doing the Lily look of the day and stuff like that, customizing their female characters, drawing their tits, asking AI to draw their tits, stuff like that, they probably will not notice or care if there is a lot of mechanical depth to the gameplay, because they don't interact with it that much, and if they do, they probably aren't interested in interacting with it at a level where it matters, right? Because they're playing, casually and for fun, and you can do that, whether you think this Lily customization or Anna customization is gorgeous or not. So you can let the people goon in customization mode and have their fun with all of that and buy their plushies, and then you can have the game be competitively interesting, and they can coexist perfectly, because we're each, these two sides of the community, we're each completely uninterested in interacting with the other side's content. Most of the people I know who play Tekken and are pretty good at top level guys that I talk to have never touched story mode in this game. I have never touched story mode in this game. Do you know what I mean? So it's weird that the competitive side needs to be dumbed down for the people who just like the girls in the game. Because they're not gonna rank up anyway. I guess now, because you look at some of these matches, and I don't want to call somebody specific out, but I see some of these rounds, right? And the people who are hitting Tekken King or Emperor rank in Tekken 8 right now, it is what we would refer to as green rank level gameplay in season 1 or 2 of T7, right? So the rank inflation has been exaggerated to the point where I don't think it's barely possible to be good at the game anymore. Anyway, right? Well, let's keep reading. Damn, that was so funny, that that fan video, dude. That was my favorite Tekken content of the year, and that includes I guess Tekken 8 came out last year. Well, anyway, with Tekken 8, the target shifted toward hollow competitive players. These players who want the rewards image feedback loop of being competitive, but without the effort or commitment to deeply engage with the game systems. The game is redesigned to give them the illusion of mastery and fast gratification, easy combos, powerful tools, accessible early, visual feedback, progression systems, heat, basically, right? As a consequence, true competitive players are alienated by the lack of meaningful progression and the devaluation of skill investment. This idea that Bandai Namco is not recent. In an interview, Harada explains how AI could be used to assist players, like correcting input mistakes. I've talked about this in the past. It was many years ago now, but at the time I called it the most out-of-touch thing ever said by a game developer, a fighting game developer. Harada doesn't exactly have his finger on the pulse of the FGC. Not that I believe that the FGC is a thing to begin with. I mean, maybe it was back in the day when people were playing Third Strike in arcades or whatever, but it doesn't really have anything to do with modern Tekken or whatever, right? As we've previously established, offense in Tekken represents the low skill ceiling side of the system. It's effective early on, easy to access, relatively shallow in terms of required knowledge and execution. That's not necessarily the case, but if you compare it to historically the defensive side of the game, it is the more shallow of the two. But there are obviously proper offense in the game, at least used to also require a lot of learning. Depending on what character you play, you could pick Brian and then press back 1 until the character, until the screen says Tekken God. But if you play, a real character that requires some knowledge, like Katarina, then you might have to learn some things before you go on the offense as well. At the same time, traditional offense was heavily amplified, moves became more sticky, mix-ups became more rewarding and less risky, and offensive tools were given broader coverage and stronger properties. The goal was to make offense not only easier to access, but also dramatically more determinant. Is that a word? Determinant in match outcomes. Oh, so more of a determining factor in match outcomes. I don't know if determinant is a word. I mean, he's pretty technical with his writing, so he probably looked it up, but there you go. Combos easier, combo extender usable at the wall, no need to wall carry optimizations. Yeah, the combo system is, it became more complex with the addition of the heat system in terms of like you get more spin, but it's like you can just do a bunch of stuff in a row and do a really long combo, but you make fewer like deliberate choices in terms of like when you want to put the spin or whether or not you want to do it pre or post wall splat and all that stuff, and you know where you want to position your opponent for Oki, stuff like that. The real design pivot lies in how Tekken 8 handles defensive responsibility. Rather than preserving classic defensive depth, the dev team chose to fully integrate defense with offense. Mechanics like Power Crush, Rage Arts, and Heat System all serve dual purposes. They create pressure and secure turns, but also function as pseudo-defensive options by armoring through attacks and retaliating mid-pressure. It's a good point, actually, that most of the defensive tools in Tekken 8 are also offensive tools. If you think of like classic defensive options like the Korean backdash cancel, or you know, sidestepping in the middle of a string, or blocking, you know, that old dusty concept that nobody cares about anymore. All of them are specifically only defensive options, you know. They don't at the same time establish a bunch of pressure unless you like see a window and then react really quickly and do like a whiff punish, right? So it's actually interesting how he describes it, because they've kind of merged offense with defense, so that the way to like get out of offense now is to apply more offense yourself, and that just, you know, makes it all brown because you're mixing all the colors together, and when you mix all the colors together, you know, it turns into brown. Tekken 8's core issue is not balance, it's design philosophy. Balancing concerns how characters perform relative to each other, or, and I've said this many times in the past, there's relative balance, but there's also absolute balance. And Tekken 8 has very, very poor absolute balance, and that is why it feels poorly balanced, even though all the characters are broken, right? There's relative strength and there's absolute strength. Tekken has a major issue with absolute strength for all characters. Game design concerns how the player improves, how depth scales over time, and what mastery looks like. In older Tekkens, even with balancing problems, what mattered the most was how good you are at fundamentals. Offense was quick access, but defense and movement, which represented the bulk of the game's depth, still rewarded mastery and decision making. Yeah, and that's exactly what's been like eroded over time. And I think especially with 8. This is where it starts to get really, really interesting. I looked at this section specifically of the article before, and this is where the culture war that surrounded Tekken a couple of months ago basically came down to this right here. Bunch of gaslighting, bunch of like dishonest opinions, a bunch of like it was basically the great Tekken civil war, right? And everybody was choosing sides, and I think this is where it gets really interesting. Tekken 8's economic model is parasitic by design. It erodes the competitive core of the game while simultaneously feeding off its legitimacy. It thrives on the illusion of competitive depth, an illusion sustained by the visibility of esports events and by influencers embedded in the community. If the competitive scene collapses entirely, the illusion breaks, and so does Tekken 8's model. Cool sentence. To maintain this illusion of competitiveness, Bandai Namco needs to control the narrative. On the esports side, cash prices increases. For instance, Tekken World Tour 2024 was $300,000, 3 times more than the one for 23. Top players remain engaged not out of passion for the game, but out of professional necessity. I think this is like a really good point, right? How you see some of the top players still playing Tekken 8 and then like posting on X about the game being trash and then redacting that and then like losing a tournament and calling the game shit and then winning a tournament and calling the game good or whatever. And I think it's because the best players in the world are still the best players in the world, but they also have no other, really monetizable skill set for the most part. They've, sunk decades of their lives into becoming good at this one specific thing, whether you're a content creator or like a professional player. When the entire ship goes down, the moment you admit that the level of the water is rising, your entire career kind of goes with it, especially because Bandai Namco will literally like cancel and fire you and end your career the moment you speak out. And so we were talking about this in my content and on Mike Hollow's channel. We were talking about how it's obviously the case that many of these like prominent content creators and pros are not being honest in their takes on the game because they have like their financial viability is dependent on them having a good relationship with Namco. And then I was called a conspiracy theorist and dishonest myself, and then I left the culture, and within a couple of weeks the two main Tekken commentators got fired for speaking out against the game, right? And they were like fucking fired off screen. They didn't even get the memo, you know what I mean? So there you go, right? Both of the rips are gone. Yeah, I know. Both of the rips are gone because both of the rips let the mask slip for only a second, and that was enough for Namco to discard them like they were the fucking wet tissues that the Tekken community use when they're looking at this Reina cosplay. Namco were coming into a tissue and called RIP, and then once they were done with it, they threw it in the trash. Something I've talked about in the past is like how you should never, like, because some young people watch my channel, never ever expect loyalty from your employer no matter who you work for, because it doesn't work like that, okay? I've sunk like years of my life into a job where I like made minimum wage, and I like physically bled trying to like sustain that company and do my best for many years, and then all of a sudden like instantly discarded. And they also tried to, and successfully, fucked me out of my severance pay on a technicality while I was in the hospital suffering with like a really serious illness. So I mean, you can show a bunch of superficial loyalty towards your employer. That's probably a good idea, because I mean, if it makes sense as a place of employment at all, they will reward it at least in the short term. But the moment like the numbers on the spreadsheet don't come together the way they want to, they will throw you out like yesterday's garbage. And that is why, I think it was at the end of the day, I never managed to become a professional content creator or a streamer. At times I felt like maybe I wanted to do that. It's a pretty cool job. I think I have fun doing it. I think people have fun watching me, but at the same time I always like kept my day job, and I made sure that I never took the plunge and like really invested into doing this full time, because it's a pipe dream and it doesn't pan out for that many people. And also it can end in a day, right? Mango, the Melee player, was like 48 hours ago, his entire, you know, career vanished in a single evening. So I kept my day job, but because I always kept my day job and kept like trying to build a career apart from like content creation, I had this superpower where I could always be honest. Like I got to always say what I wanted and what I actually thought. But a bunch of these content creators and commentators and pros, they don't have that privilege, right? They don't have that privilege, especially don't if they have kids. And so I think those are like the two main superpowers that I had as a content creator that gave me an edge and an advantage was that, first of all, I always had a job, and second, I never tried to have sex with any children. And when you're in fighting games, that's not something that can be said for like a majority of profiles out there. You know, I've never sent any pictures of my dick to any kids. And that means that there goes the ad revenue. But again, Kilo, it doesn't fucking matter because I don't do this for money. It's fine, right? I can make that joke. That's the whole thing. So like, if you're, say that you're like a Smash Brothers streamer, right? And you're either like tanking your entire financial future, putting all of your eggs in one old, you know, fucking GameCube shaped bucket, trying to become like a melee content creator or pro player, and living in like weird houses together with other players and having like, you know, weird fucking furry sex in between sets, or it's a countdown until, you know, the fucking allegations surface and now you have to fucking play Fox and then in between rounds like respond to the allegations, right? That's really the hardest part probably of about being a Smash Brothers player full time. You have to like fucking respond to the sex allegations in between like fucking trying to no stock this Marth. Those are honestly the two reasons I can look back at the entire stint I had as a content creator, the decade in which I made videos, and like, I mean, some of the stuff is like, it hasn't aged perfectly. Some of the humor is a little bit cringe, I guess, but I embrace all of it and I stand for everything I said. And the reason I could do that is I always had a job and I didn't finger bang any kids. How many fighting game content creators can say that? Not many. To maintain this illusion of competitiveness, Bandai Namco needs to control the narrative on the esports side. Yeah, we read this. On the content creator side, the strategy is equally calculated. Offer exclusive access, invitations, brand collaborations, and visibility, but these privileges can be revoked just as easily when opinion diverges too far from the accepted narrative. When influential figures appear to endorse the game, the illusion is reinforced. The broader community sees them as authoritative voices and thus perceives the product as legitimate, healthy, and competitively sound. Very well put. I agree completely. And this is essentially what we were talking about, right? The moment the Rips admitted that the game is a piece of trash, they thought that they had probably a strong enough, an established enough relationship with the people at Bandai Namco that they could show a little bit of honesty and not be completely discarded, but that's not how it works, right? Another aspect in Tekken 8's communication strategy, while publicly encouraging players to send feedback on Twitter or voice concerns for future balance patches, internal actions reveal the opposite. A growing number of long-time players, many with deep knowledge of Tekken's legacy systems, have reported being blocked by key figures like Michael Murray after sharing structured critical feedback. The goal is clear: to suppress dissent and elevate only the voices that align with the new direction. This filtered perception allows the developers to point to supposed community approval, creating false consensus that justifies the direction they've chosen. Aggression heavy, surface level gameplay disguised as progress. Fuck yeah. They also claim Tekken 8 is selling faster than 7, which is factually false. Yeah, going back and showing Harada's own Twitter and a talk about trying to construct a narrative, saying that Tekken 8 is selling faster than 7, and then we can just go to your own Twitter, Harada, and see that you're full of shit and lying. And this is the graph, you know, where I was saying before that with Tekken 7, this graph kept going all the way until 12 million, but, you know, Tekken 8 is effectively dead after, you know, a year and change since launch. Why this model is not sustainable. Lack of depth creates volatility and undermines long-term engagement. When a game lacks strategic depth and is heavily skewed towards fast-paced coin flip interactions, losses feel unfair, wins feel unearned, offering no meaningful sense of progression. Over time, this erodes player motivation, especially for those looking to grow and be rewarded for learning. No complaints. AstroTurfing goo? Yeah, I've heard that. Party game design philosophy is inherently short-term. A party game thrives on immediacy, fast reward, easy access, minimal friction. But this design doesn't scale with player investment over time. This is a good point, right? If you look at Mario Party, that's a game that you might play with your friends when you get together and you have a bunch of like random, you know, interactions and fun and laugh. But I mean, unless there's like some seriously on the spectrum speedrunners out there sinking, you know, thousands of hours into Mario Party mini games, which I bet there are, very, very few people are like trying to spend serious time and investing serious energy into becoming the best Mario Party player, right? Because that's not what it's about. You can like land on the wrong random space after a dice roll and like lose all of your stars to somebody who has been losing the game for the last 40 minutes. And that is essentially what's been happening with Tekken, right? It has been heading in that, I mean, he refers to it as like a party game sort of a direction, but it's more like you don't get the return on investment for like trying to be good the way you used to. Yeah, Street Fighter 6 dropping Gooner skins, obviously something that the community would be very, very interested in and would respond to favorably, because basically at this point the only people who are playing, there are basically two groups of people who are still playing Tekken 8. It's people who are like coming in photo mode and in customization mode, and the main man. I think those are the two groups that are still playing the game. It's the main man and people who like, you know, customize their Xiaoyu. Games as a service is not inherently anti-competitive. Major titles like Dota, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, Rocket League have proven that it's possible to implement a successful service model without compromising gameplay integrity. I can't speak to the competitive integrity of those games, but it's definitely true that you can have that model and still have like a really a deep game that people care about being good at. And then it becomes like a balancing act between like you wanting to make as much money as possible out of people and nickel and diming people, and the game remaining viable. With Tekken 8, they just like completely, that balance failed, and they started nickel and diming the game or the audience at the expense of competitive integrity to an extent where the entire competitive audience left, right? Tekken 7 was a working and profitable model. I don't know how much money Tekken 7 ended up making, but it's a shit ton. You know? It's a shit ton because it was not only, I mean, selling 12 million copies, it also had like successful seasons one after another with all of this monetizable stuff, right? But it has to happen, like I said, in the right order. You can't make a financially successful game that ends up being good. You have to make a good game that ends up being financially successful as a direct consequence of it being good, because otherwise all you're going to be left with is a community of people who, you know, are more interested in coming on the game than actually playing it. Why the radical shift with Tekken 8? The answer is seems simple. Bandai Namco projected higher profitability by prioritizing retention and mass appeal over competitive integrity. Yeah, makes sense to me. Pretty much, right? You don't make an omelette without breaking eggs. In this case, eggs were Tekken's competitive community. The Tekken players' eggs have been broken. Designing Tekken 9. Okay, this is going to be interesting. The objective is not to do an in-depth design, but more give a general framework and address the main issues identified in the previous sections. Granted, the previous analysis of Tekken 8 design being inherently not competitive, none of the major mechanics will be kept, in particular, heat system. Sounds like a solid idea. Throw the baby out with the bathwater, and then, you know, flush that shit. Flush the development team, flush the people in charge of the Tekken team, flush their fucking snarky ass, condescending piece of shit Twitter-based community interaction, flush it all down the fucking toilet. Go back and look at like Tekken 5 DR, because people still, you know, love that shit. Figure out what like viable things you can carry forward, and then, you know, start from scratch. Competitive depth and integrity, maximizing linear learning curve, strength in esport. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna keep caring about esports because it's a huge revenue stream for them now, but personally I think the esports side of Tekken becoming more significant, you know, at least in the minds of the developers, was a contributing factor to the entire culture completely dying. I'm coming at this from the perspective of a person who has completely left Tekken behind and considers Tekken 8 a dead game at this point. You might not agree because you're excited about Fakum Lam, you know, and the different colors of thong you're going to customize him with. But as far as I'm concerned, Tekken 8 is, for all intents and purposes, a completely dead game that nobody really cares about anymore. Esports hype, new players onboarding, high-level competitive players. Well, okay, so he's basically saying esports makes it so that new people want to play the game, and because the game is interesting, they keep playing it. Kind of. But I think you could remove the esports part of this diagram, and it could basically be the game is good, so people want to play it. And because it doesn't even need to be 2 points of the diagram, it can just be one dot in the middle of the diagram that says people keep playing the game because good, and people start playing the game because good. They start playing it and then they keep playing it because there's something to do inside of it, instead of, you know, apart from, like, you know, pressing heat and then making some noise and getting hype and then watching the next trailer. Toning down one move all-purpose design like Claudio back one. Yeah, Claudio back one is definitely like an all. I heard that Zafina has like a back 1+2 right now that is basically this, but even better. No on-purpose overpowered DLC. Exactly. I think you should, honestly, I mean, you should try and make all characters as fairly balanced as possible, in my opinion. But if anything, the new DLC characters should probably be on the weak side rather than the strong side, because people are going to be like really interested in them anyway, and they're going to do reasonably well because they're completely new. But you should try and like sweet spot them as well as you can, because it's not about selling a bunch of Leroys right now. It's about keeping people playing in the long term, right? And the way you do that is you don't piss them off every 3 months by releasing, by the time you've rebalanced the completely broken character that comes out 3 months ago, you're just introducing the new completely broken character that ruins online again. So you're like never in a state where there's like a nice equilibrium of balance. Keeping Rage Art and Power Crush. I liked armor moves in 7. I think one of the most successful like new mechanic implementations that we've ever seen in Tekken is armor moves. They feel like a problem in 8 right now, but I don't think that armor moves were like broken or felt like a problem in 7. So it's not a problem with armor moves. It's a problem with like armor moves that are also heat engagers or safe on block or hit from full screen, or give too much reward for too little risk and stuff like that. Armor moves are fucking awesome, and I'd keep them. Reduce frustration, combo length. Combo length is definitely one of the main things you can do to reduce frustration. This has been scientifically proven. We've talked about that on the channel before. The most frustrating thing for video game players when they play a game is loss of control, when things are happening on the screen that they have no power over. And that is what happens when you're being juggled for like 40 seconds and you can't do anything, you're just watching. It's complete loss of control. I mean, even one thing that you could consider that Tekken has never done, but could be an interesting like layer of depth to it, would be some sort of combo breaking mechanic, so that there is something that you have to think about and could potentially do while you are being comboed. But I'm just throwing that out right now, not having thought about it that much. Could be a terrible idea, but it can't be worse than heat. Reduce move list size, not necessarily. I mean, if you want the game to be complex, it can have all of these moves. They don't all have to be like front and center and super useful, but right now I think you have characters that have a couple of moves that are so broken that it's all you see, and the rest of the move list, whether it exists or not, doesn't matter, right? Keep Tekken 7 get up system. Yeah, I heard they removed Oki in 8 as well. Allow beginner to escape other beginner offense, offering scalability of movement mechanic, which is central. Yeah, scalability for movement, but that's like really long term. When you start playing Tekken, at least back in the day, you try and become good at movement so that you can get out of green ranks. And then you actually lose more, and it sucks because you're not doing it right. But then very, very gradually over time, if you don't give up, you start rising, and then you look back at the green ranks and you can basically absolutely crush everybody down there, no effort. So yeah, scalability of like defense and movement over long periods of time is like, I mean, it's the soul of the franchise as far as I'm concerned. It was the only thing anybody talked about when I started playing Tekken and wanted to be good at it, which was like the twilight years of Tag 2. It was like, dude, offense is trash. Don't worry about combos. Learn how to move, learn how to sidestep, learn how to Korean backdash cancel, clean up your inputs, learn instant while standing, learn instant while running if you're really sweaty and autistic. Learn how to break throws, learn how to duck eyes. Optional party mode, dual identity model. This is kind of what I talked about before, I'm guessing, like where I said that, the people who just want to jerk off to the female characters or like play in story mode, they can still do that. What you do to the competitive side of the game doesn't really impact them if they're not interested. And if they are interested, then eventually they will want the competitive side to be good as well. They can completely and perfectly coexist with one another. The game doesn't need to be stupider to apply or to be appealing for people who aren't interested in, getting sweaty. UI experience, yeah. Conclusion. Tekken 8 marks a clear philosophical shift from accessibility to play to accessibility to win, and that distinction is critical. Yeah, exactly. You don't make the game easier to learn, you just make it easier to win, and you make learning less required or rewarding. That's the difference, right? You can make great tutorials and make the game a lot more educational. You can put all of these resources into making it easier to learn the game, but what they did instead was they removed the necessity to learn anything at all, and you know, we all predicted exactly what would happen. The competitive players are going to leave within a year, and then only like the really casual people are going to be left. So yeah, written by Dylan. Shout outs to Dylan. I probably don't agree with like every single point he made, but I think overall it's like a pretty technical breakdown of exactly what went wrong. So, you know, good shit. Clap. Non-sarcastic clap. But yeah, still bleeding players, and as far as I'm concerned, as a competitive game, you know, functionally dead. But anyway, what else are we jerking off to? I'm gonna drink some water and then play some more T7.
Challenger. Get ready for the next battle.
I was muted. I was making some really good points right there. I was actually telling you what I really think about Brian and Mishima's, but now I guess you guys will never know. Do Albanians plug? I guess we'll find out. I mean, it's Eastern Europe, so I'm not getting my hopes up. We'll see what happens. Nice can. Nice unblockable. I was looking at the chat, so it doesn't count. That's a bad choice by me. Boom. Yeah.
KO. Round 3.
Did you watch Aris reviewing the DLC? No. Is it good? Why is Aris like... I didn't think he commented on Tekken at all anymore. Maybe it's just like, you know, like me, kind of he jumps in and like tries to see if there's anything interesting left to dissect at all. There never is, by the way. Nice. Okay, he mixed his options from last time. Hey, good shit. This guy's pretty good.
Round 4. Fight.
That's guaranteed. And broken. Nice. Guaranteed. Too much damage. This character's broken. Easy. Let's bring it back. I'm not going to lose this.
Fight.
Nice, okay. Oh no, the setup! I was always really bad at like dealing with that shitty unblockable setup for Oscar. I always sucked at that. See? YOLO. Alright, alright. You should react to, I should react a little after this set. Okay, I'll react to something. What should I react to? Any cool wars happening right now? Maybe I'll give you my take on, I mean, basically, I don't really read the news or watch like online content that much, but every once in a while, like I dip my toe in it. And what I've realized is that all of the human beings in the world and all of the fictional characters are crashing out, and they're also cooked. Those are the two main things that are happening. Interestingly, the same people who are crashing out are also the people who are cooked. But yeah, so it's like any YouTube video right now, it's either that, you know, the president of this country is like cooked, but then it's like, but this One Piece character is crashing out. And the people who think that this guy is cooked are crashing out because he's not cooked. He's actually crashing out. You know what I mean? So those are the two things. I think Palestine is cooked. It's also crashing out. I heard the supreme leader in Iran is cooked and crashing out. And I also heard that the Akainu community in One Piece are cooked because of the Mihawk fans crashing out. So I think, like, honestly, I have a pretty good handle on what's going on out there. I wonder what everybody's cooking. You're a One Piece fan? I started reading One Piece when I was 11 years old, and I'm 36 this year. So I mean, it's been something that, I mean, it was like a big deal to me when I was a kid. I'm aware of it still, but you know, I don't, you know, I wouldn't call myself a prominent community member, if that's what you're asking. But, you know, Apparently, Mihawk is cooked and Whitebeard is crashing out
Fight.
while cooking. Back 3 spam, huh? Mihawk can beat any swordsman. Well, you know. That depends, you know, if the opponent has the Sharingan or not. If they have the Magunga Sharingan, then you know he's not going to win unless he achieves Bankai.
Get ready for the next battle.
I haven't played the Lies of P DLC. That's actually something that I should stream. That game was sick.
Round 1. Fight.
Oh no, that's embarrassing. Good back 3 spam. Nice back 3 spam. Nice Albanian Tekken stream. I know, it's my favorite. It's my favorite Albanian Tekken stream I've done. Uniam Miedash. That means I am a male sheep in Albanian. I went over the low and I still didn't get a wall spot. That's broken.
Round 2. Fight.
What's the story behind the title? I don't know. You tell me, dude. Nice. Hop kick.
KO. Round 3. Fight. Perfect. Round 4. Fight.
Good duck. Oh! The recent patches made it more playable. Yeah, but I think the Season 2 update took it so far in the wrong direction that unless the updates are extremely, like, ridiculously huge and bring in, like, hundreds of changes at a time, I think you're actually, what do the kids say? It's coping. It's copium even, because it's like, okay, the game became 500 times more trash and then they nerfed one move that was broken. It it feels like it helps, but that's only because, you know, they're still boiling the frogs slowly. But, you know, compared to like this game, it's still complete trash, right? Nice. Nice, okay. I knew he was going to do that, I just didn't know when.
KO.
I think it's possible for Tekken 8 to get good. I think here's the main point. if we're talking about whether or not Tekken 8 can become a really good game, here's the main takeaway that I want all of you to, like, if you only hear one thing this stream, let it be this. Nobody gives a fuck whether or not Tekken 8 becomes a good game. I mean, it's probably not gonna happen. I mean, it's definitely not gonna happen, but it doesn't matter whether it happens or not, because Tekken 8 is cooked and crashing out, dude. Like, I don't give a fuck anymore at all. I don't even almost give a fuck. And I mean, this game was like the main thing I did for about 10 years of my life. And I couldn't care less, because it's cyclical, right? It became very cyclical. It's like, okay, this update was very, very painful, but and the game got significantly worse, but now it got a little bit better. So let's like stay cautiously optimistic and wait for the next update. And you do, and then the game gets a lot worse and then maybe a little bit better, and so you choose to be cautiously optimistic about the next update, and that just repeats. And if you care about the game and the way it's like played, you just like, you're on that hamster wheel and you're in an increasing amounts of pain, and you don't notice it, but you're just like sinking deeper and deeper into this fucking darkness, right? And eventually it got bad enough that me and a bunch of other people said, well, I mean, this just definitely isn't worth it. And it's not that we like stopped playing Tekken. I think many of us just completely stopped caring, because there's like no indication that there's even no real indication that there's any hope for anything to ever even get a little bit better, because all the problems with the community as a community remain. All the problems with the people who make the game are still there. They are still the exact same people making the exact same mistakes. And yeah, they can like make a marginal improvement to make you feel better in the short term. And but I mean, look at what's happening at Reddit right now. I haven't even been following the updates for this game, but I unironically see people say, well, the Season 2 update was bad, but they're going to fix it in the, like, May patch. And then they don't fix it in the May patch. So they're like, well, it's a little bit better, and the real fix is in the June patch. And then it's, like, still not getting better. And then they're like, oh, well, it's going to get better in the July patch. So, like, you're still in that hamster wheel, but most of us just don't care anymore. Like, we couldn't care less. And that's a really important distinction, you know. When I was like raging and getting salty about what was happening to the culture, that's because I still gave a fuck about it, and, you know, maybe had some faint glimmer of hope that some part of it could be salvaged, but that's just not the case anymore. I unironically believe that the most significant thing that has happened in Tekken as a culture, for the last year, the most major update to like Tekken and its community in the last year is unironically the fact that the main man grew a mustache. That is like more significant than anything that's been happening to the gameplay as far as I can tell. Fight. And I mean, the mustache was cool to think about for a couple of days, but I'm kind of over it now. You know what I mean? Not enough hell sweeps, that's why I'm losing. He shaved it? Okay, so that's the second most significant thing to happen to Tekken in like 18 months, is he shaved it. Why is everything she does always mid? What about the time Michael Murray tweeted the N-word? I don't know. I mean, the best joke I ever heard about the N-word was like, I think it was like a Theo Vaughn podcast, and they were talking about how it was really fucked up that somebody said the N-word, and Theo was talking to a black guy, and he said, what I do sometimes if I need to get it out is I'll just write it down. That's what Murray did. Dude, infinite fucking damage.
KO. Final round. Fight.
I'll just write it down. That's a good joke. Nice counter hit. Oh no, why did I jump? I just gave it to him. I was winning that.
You lose.
Off the cuff. That was good though. I mean, yeah. Michael Murray is still like really, I mean, we can only speculate, but I'm assuming very, very deeply unhappy with himself in his professional life. I mean, I don't think you ban that many people on Twitter if you're not like extremely insecure, right? And when I cared about Tekken, I deeply disliked him
Round one.
because he was hurting and damaging something that mattered to me a lot, right? But now that I'm completely indifferent about Tekken, it's hard to not feel sorry for him. It's like hard to not feel really, really sorry for him, because he's like, you know, a couple of decades into a career that's not fucking going well right now. You know, in his, I assume, late 40s, and like insecure enough that he's banning teenagers on Twitter, and then going to these like Tekken events and having to pretend to be excited about the new fucking LOM trailer he wants to show everybody. Block that. Nice back three spam, dude. It's interesting how the Oscar players are playing exactly the way they did before, and so are the Devil Jin players, right? Like nothing's changed. I think, yeah, I mean, if you're like as old as Harada and Murray, and like everything you've built up until this point is like just a stack of really nice low parry, like a stack of embarrassing trash at this point, and like nobody considers you a professional to any extent, and like, you know, you've killed a legacy that's been going since like the 90s by just being flat out like unlikable and incompetent. Yeah, it must be pretty fucking rough. But you know, I guess you get what you deserve, right?
Round one. Fight.
Back three spam is crazy, dude.
KO.
Get up 4.
Round
They both just needed to shut up. Yeah, it's like your marketing executives who don't play the game. Maybe don't try and like be the entire community management team on your private Twitter. You know what I mean? And every single time they speak, it's like them trying to be home with the Downies and the hip with the kids, and it's just kind of embarrassing. They should have moved on to like bigger and better things at that point in their lives. I mean, Harada tried to, I guess, and left other people in charge. He just, you know, definitely left the wrong people in charge. I mean, Nakatsu, it seems like he's just this like fucking grim reaper of like fighting game franchises, right? Just moved on to Tekken after killing Soul Calibur. Who knows though? Who cares? I mean, again, who cares? Where's the rage drive, dude? Where's the rage drive, Lebowski? Can you step it? Yeah, you can. See, that's a hard read and him getting ass fucked by fundamentals. The sort of thing that doesn't happen in Tekken 8 because it's trash. Nice, okay. Cross chop? Dude, are you smoking? Nakatsu killed Tekken 8? Yeah, I mean, I think we all killed Tekken 8, honestly. The community, like... The community is completely complicit in killing it. The community is completely complicit in killing Tekken. I mean, obviously the developers are the main culprits, but oh damn, promo match. Good luck, dude.
Fight.
Don't choke. Like your mom when I was banging her last night. Should have launched that, for sure.
Round 2. Fight.
Wow, our Oki is brokey. It's just true.
KO.
Let's get up.
Round 3. Fight.
Ooh, the big whiff.
KO. Round 4. Fight.
Back 3 spam. Jeez.
You win.
Promos are for closers, bitch. Get good. Well played.
Get ready for the next battle.
He's doing strings! Nice, okay. Oh, so brokey. So brokey, dude! Why did she get that? Guess I could have chicken.
Round 2. Fight.
I'm starting to remember why I quit this franchise. Well played. Fuck. Let's run it back. Or bring it back.
Round 3.
Let's do a comeback.
Fight.
No! Don't do it! Don't do it! GG's. Fuck, this guy's so fucking annoying.
Get ready for the next battle.
I wish my character could just like do 3 strings over and over and have everything be built in. Nice fraudulent fucking match, bitch. Let's see if you can get the promo. Are you gonna choke again?
Fight.
Like your mom does on big cocks? And, I mean small cocks, whoever's paying, right?
KO.
Good choice.
Round 2. Fight.
The crazy call out starting the round with a Demon Slayer is like a terrible choice.
KO.
This guy's fucking trash. I hope he has a car crash. Just kidding, well played.
Fight.
He mixes like all his lows with that 1+2, which has always been broken trash for Oscar. Because it's safe on block. It's like safe arc blast. Imagine if Lars just had safe fucking arc blast. You could just make mix-ups by standing still, sucking 5 cocks, and then like pressing the button.
You lose.
Well played, well played. Now you're worth more points, bitch. Let's see you keep this up.
Get ready for the next battle.
Main man has insulted pretty much everyone he used to defend back in the day. I think with main man, he's been playing this game for so long that you can probably find a clip of him saying literally everything. Like, Oscar is cool, Oscar is lame. Bob is cool, Bob is lame. Mishimas are cool, Mishimas are lame. Like, I mean, you can't play Tekken for like 30 years and not eventually have all the opinions, right? You can't really hold him accountable for it because he's literally talked about this game for millions of words, and it's just like, you know, you're not one person, you're like an amalgamation of all the different like influences you have with maybe a little bit of deliberate consciousness behind it all, if you're like an above average intelligence human. And That's just what it is.
Three. Fight.
He still gets a combo. This game's trash.
KO. Round 4. Fight.
He tries to be the voice of reason. Well, here's the thing, like, if the thing you built your career around is like literally burning to the ground and like everybody's fighting and screaming and you have like a vested interest in the game staying alive, but also in like the people who make it liking you and all of this, I mean, you would try and be a stabilizing voice and a voice of reason as well. Again, like I never had that problem. I never had to be reasonable at all, and I ended up, you know, looking like one of the more sane people because of it. Just so.
You win.
But I've been doing really well since we last spoke. You guys, I mean, I told you that I'm getting married. It's, we're actually getting married in less than a month now. It's not that far away. And, like a month ago, I actually bought a house. Not a house, I guess, an apartment. I bought a place. It's nice. Like, it doesn't even need that much work. I'm really excited. So we're like getting married, and then 4 days later we're moving into this new place, and it's the first time in my entire life I'm gonna live in more than one room. I'm actually like, I'm gonna have too many rooms in this new place, but it means that I get my own like hobby room, and she does as well, of course. We get one each. So I'm gonna like do my entire gaming setup in that room, and you know, get back to streaming probably, just as a fun hobby, right? Which I'm excited about. So yeah, that's gonna be sick. Damn.
Great. Round 2. Fight.
And I got promoted at work, and things are going really well there right now, which I'm excited about. You know, I've really hit my stride in terms of like my job finally, because you know, I didn't choose a career path until I was like in my late 20s. So I have a lot of time to make up for. Like, my manager is 2 years younger than me. But, you know, kept grinding and it's gone really well. So, you know, that's been really cool. And then, you know, marriage coming up, and then new house in August. So it's going to be pretty sick in Sweden or Japan. The place we bought is here in Sweden, but you know, I think we're both pretty sure that we're gonna want to return to, I forgot about this move, I love this move, return to Japan one day. Like, I definitely don't want to grow old in Sweden, not the way it is right now. It's just like way too unsafe, and like you basically can't get an ambulance in Sweden. Like, you call the cops and they don't show up for 2 hours. Every time you like you need help from any sort of government agency, whether it's like immigration or healthcare, or you know, getting a marriage license or whatever it may be, you have like insane waiting times, and you know, you try and call the IRS and you're in like a phone queue for 2 hours, and then somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about picks up and you don't get any help to, you know, in the end anyway. Whereas in Japan, all that stuff is like completely fucking seamless and easy. The main reason living in Japan is like difficult is that the economy is really, really weak, and the pay is terrible. So, but what you can do in Sweden, which is really cool, is that property prices in this country just go up over time, and they have for like decades and decades and decades. So if you buy a place here, it's actually kind of an investment, and then many years down the line you're going to end up making money on it. So it's kind of like a way of establishing some financial stability for the future. And even if you like end up spending a lot of time in Japan, you can just rent it out, and rents are like really high in this country because there's a massive housing shortage. That, I mean, whatever. This is talking a little bit too much about like my private life and plans, which I just realized that I'm isn't my thing. But yeah, things have been going really well since last we spoke. But I'm not going to say that things are going really well for me right now because I stopped playing Tekken or anything. But probably didn't hurt that I didn't, I stopped spending a couple of hours a day, fucking giving a shit about something that stopped being worth giving a shit about a long time ago.
KO.
Thank you so much, guys.
Round 3.
Thank you.
Fight.
You're being vague enough, though. Yeah, I hope so. It's weird, like when I started working in, so like my dreams when I was a kid, I wanted to learn the Japanese language, I wanted to move to Japan one day, and then I also like really wanted to try and be a content creator or YouTuber. And like by the time I was like 27, I lived in Japan. I had a YouTube channel and I spoke the language, but then it's like, now what? And I didn't have any money, and I was just in a really difficult situation. In a way, maybe I should be grateful that, I mean, obviously it was horrible for a bunch of people and all that, but maybe I should be grateful that Corona happened, because if it didn't and that hotel that I worked at in Japan just stayed in business, I might have just like worked there for like ever. And I mean, my life was pretty cool, I was playing video games, I had my little place, my apartment.
Round 1.
I had friends, and I was really chilling, it was cool, but there was like no sense of like, I wasn't taking on any like real responsibility or building anything really meaningful. I was kind of just coasting, and that's cool in a way, but after a while it's like you wanna do something a little bit more spirited. And luckily, I mean, by the time I met my soon-to-be wife, it's like I went to a party and I'm like, if I don't meet somebody at this party, I'm gonna... It's kind of like Tekken, yeah, a sense of progression. It's what's missing from Tekken 8, yeah? So even if you really like heat and customization mode, there's a lack of meaningful progress. Maybe that's it, but I was like, if I don't meet anybody at this party, I'll just fucking play Tekken and chill for the rest of my life and be alone. And I was on my way to the party where we met, and even though I used to be like really social and like I met people all the time, and I was, for some reason I was like anxious the day before this party, so I didn't sleep. I had insomnia. I got insomnia from working, nights at the hotel, and then I've had sort of insomnia issues since then, even though they've gotten a lot better lately. Like these days I'm sleeping really well, and my health has improved massively. I've, lost weight and stuff, but I was so like greasy and tired and looked horrible the day of this party that I remember going to the subway and taking the train to where it was happening, and then I was like, I'm just gonna check myself in the mirror to see that I look all right before I go in and I looked myself in the mirror and I had like red spots on my face. I looked completely pale. These like the new clothes that I bought just like didn't fit me at all, and I mean I looked horrible. And I'm like, oh god, this is just like embarrassing because I hadn't slept at all. So I actually turned around and I was gonna go back home and just like, you know, play Tekken or whatever. And then my friend who had invited me to that party saw me and he was like, hey, and he like whistled and called me over, and I'm like, damn, he saw me, I guess now I have to go in. But at that point it was like, okay, I'm definitely not gonna like meet somebody here because I look like shit, I feel like shit, I just don't want to be here. So at that point I guess I kind of just relaxed and didn't give a fuck, and you know, I ended up meeting wifey. So yeah, I've been really fortunate, been really lucky. Hey, what's up, Win Kazama? Thanks, man. Yeah, I just realized that I really like miss talking to you and hanging out. So there's, you know, not going to be a lot of like stuff going on the channel like for maybe the next month or so, because I'm gonna get married and then I'm gonna move. But once I have moved, I will have an actual like game room, and after that, in like September, my then wife is going away for a month. So by then I'll probably be streaming like more or less every day, you know, when I'm not working. As for like games, right now I'm playing a lot of Path of Exile 2. A lot of people like kept saying that it's so complex and difficult to get into or whatever, but it, you know, it takes a week, and then like if you just pay attention, it kind of starts making sense. So I have I have 3 like end game characters blasting right now in Path of Exile 2, and I'm really enjoying that. This patch is apparently not great, but they're like, you know, adding character classes and stuff. So that's going to be sick. Mixed reviews. Well, I think Path of Exile 2, like when you pick it up, if you like ARPGs, it's essentially Diablo 2, but like modern and really, really fucking good and like well thought out. If you like Diablo 2, you'll love PoE 2, I think. But it's just like, you know, if you just play through the campaign, it's actually mind-blowingly cool the first time. It's got really, really great game feel, like hitting and killing things feels great.
Round 4.
Progression is really good. The end game is like fine, but it's obvious that the game is still incomplete because it's in early access. So like right now, I really enjoy it, and I just look forward to like all the stuff that they're going to add, because it's basically only going to get better, right? Good punish. Will you play Virtua Fighter? I don't know. Like, the thing with people are saying like, oh, you know, Tekken's trash, so we're looking forward to Virtua Fighter. I mean, maybe it's really cool and that would be awesome, but it could also be another massive cope, because I'm going to play a different character for a little bit. Good games, dude. Congrats on the promo. Nice Albanian Oscar. Thing about like fighting games, if you look at like almost all fighting games that have come out for the last, I don't know how many years, they essentially all fail completely and really fast within like 2 or 3 weeks of coming out. People are like super excited and getting into it, and then like even before it really starts, it just really fades and dies. Like, I saw Mike Hollow got really into that Bleach game, and I'm a huge Bleach fan, right? So I'm like, maybe I should check that out. And then by the time, because I watched his stream like yesterday, by the time I thought maybe I should pick the game up, it's down to like 180 concurrent players on Steam. So it's like dead already, right? And that happens to basically all of the fighting games that come out, and it doesn't matter if they're 3D or 2D or whatever. So it's basically Tekken and Street Fighter, right? And Tekken is trash now, and Street Fighter is killing it, and the content looks really cool coming up for Street Fighter. So I think, you know, you can get your hopes up for Virtua Fighter. Maybe it will be cool, but probably it will just be cool and exciting for 2 or 3 weeks, and then it'll just be another fighting game that died really quickly. That's what happens with, you know, the Mortal Kombat games now. That's what happens with everything. Like, making a fighting game stick and actually retain a culture and a competitive scene long term now is almost impossible. And I mean, not even Tekken can manage it. Tekken 8 should have been a slam dunk, let's be honest. It was just incredibly mismanaged. And then prominent voices in the community started like gaslighting the community into thinking that it wasn't that bad, so people like kept trying to cope. We ended up in some sort of weird cultural civil war, and then, you know, everybody who gave a shit just left, and now it's like people cooming about Oscar and the main man are the only, like, you know, people still playing it. Alright, I guess he's still playing it. I don't know, maybe he's doing Dead by Daylight full time now. I wish him the best though. Oh no, you're supposed to down 3 here. You're supposed to down 3. He's a Dead by Daylight streamer now. Okay, well, cool. He always seemed to really like that game. I mean, we're friends on Steam, so I see when he logs in what he's playing, and it's usually that game. Hey, thanks, Uncle Hyena. It's cool seeing you. I'll be around. I'll see you again. No matches, huh? That's rough.
Welcome to the King of Iron Fist Tournament 7. Elisa.
They're fixing everything. Yeah, I mean, even he came around to thinking that the game was obviously trash eventually. Or, I mean, my theory is that he thought that for a really long time, but didn't want to say it for, you know, a bunch of reasons. But I can only speculate. You don't know what's in people's minds, you know. Oh, react to Eris? Yeah, let's do that. Let's see if I can find it. Oh wait, this is Medusa reacting to it. Why am I all of a sudden like good with, like, I didn't play Tekken for a really long time or stream, and I'm like good at it. You guys can see this, right?
Anyone else having a really good day?
I am. Thanks, Eris.
Nice to see you.
I'm having a great day. It's nice to see
How's
you
it
too,
going?
man. I used to watch this guy all the time. When I lived in the UK, I was actually subscribed to Eris' stream for like many, many months, maybe a couple of years. He's the only streamer I think I've ever like paid to subscribe to. And you know, it was fucking sick. But I haven't watched him in many, many years. You know, you move on. But it's like cool to hear his voice again. This guy was making like 4-hour character guides when I started learning Tekken. He made one on Feng, one on Armor King, one on Wong, one on Dragonov back in like the Tag 2 days. And that is when I got really into like Tekken on a technical level. So like a lot of my terminology and a lot of like the basic philosophy on the game that I have, like I got from this guy, right? And the reason I started making character guides that were like 1 hour, 2 hours long is the fact that it was like the content that I really looked up to. I wanted to go home and like, you know, listen to like an hour long tutorial on just pokes for a character from Eris, and then like learn about all these little intricacies and explanations and like soak up all the terminology and knowledge. And so it sort of heavily influenced how I started making guide content, because like if you want views, really you should do what like, you know, Salami did and have like really easy to digest, high production value content. But for me, like, it's not about the bells and whistles. It's just like fucking talking about all the little things plainly and explaining them. And that's why I wanted to make like my tutorial content in the same way, because this is like, for me, that's, if you really care about this game and you really want to get into like learning it, it's not about like production value and background music or the quality of your webcam. It's like just you having good explanations and showing what you mean is like enough, right?
You can tell from the title, I'm at work right now. I wonder if No Pants is here. Hey, No Pants, are you here? If No Pants is here, you can type exclamation point No Pants. If he's not here, oh, there he is! Exclamation point No Pants. What does he say? It's going too fast. I didn't see what he said, but whatever he said, you could click on that.
Oh, this stream is 2 hours long. I'll just jump in somewhere. When he's like, I want him to like, because this is what Eris does when a new character comes out, or used to do. He jumps into practice mode and he explores. And
that part of the game, man.
That's
right
what
after.
I started doing when a new character came up, because like I learned it from him.
All right.
Eris is, I mean, honestly, like in the content creation sphere, he might be like the one person that I've ever like genuinely looked up to. He's also one of the few people I've ever seen who is good at this and also seems to really enjoy it, you know? It's not like fake happiness in front of the camera. It's not like cringe fucking collaborations with all these like weird people. It's not like constant, you know, sponsors or whatever. I mean, this is a sponsored stream, but it's like, I genuinely think he is like happy to sit there and do this, and he's enjoying it, and his camera is still fucking green and broken all these years later. It's like him and Red Letter Media are like the two content creators. And I mean, there's one other guy I've seen in the last few years where it like blows my mind how high level it is, in my opinion, and that's this Smash Brothers, I guess, a content creator called Technicals. His videos are incredibly fucking funny, and they're like, I don't know, it's my brand of humor, you know, the way it's the level of sarcasm and the level of like brutal honesty. And maybe those are like the three main ones.
Whoa. There's a guy in the background. He looks pissed. What else is going on in this stage? I have never seen this.
Hey, what's up, Peter?
Thank you.
Give it a nice 360 spin. Hey, which game's character select theme is this?
Thank you.
6.
You know what I just noticed, like, today? That when you push start in this game, it doesn't say welcome to the Iron Fist tournament. Is that the first time ever? I think that this is the first Tekken game where it doesn't say welcome to the Iron Fist tournament. I wonder why.
Oh, DR, yeah, it might be DR actually.
Man, I haven't moved around in a while. Cool.
Can he still backdash?
Man, I
Yeah,
haven't moved.
he can still backdash. Like, I can confirm now after not playing Tekken for like a really long time and then jumping in today. Once you learn backdashing, it actually, I mean, you probably get rusty, but you can still do it. It's like riding a bike.
Wait a minute. What is that thing over there? What is that little tachometer?
You know, I've never liked you, Rip.
What is that?
In this game looks sweet.
One.
Namco
Let me
don't
tell
like
you
Rip
right
either.
now, okay?
Not anymore.
I, for one, love meter and any kind of activation mechanics, especially in 3D games. I love that. The more meter that exists, all it does is add complexity and fun. Really. Personally, I love meter. Extra guacamole, bros. All day. Wow, look at that.
I bet this is a 4-4-2. I can just like tell because that's like, I think if Ares jumps in on a new character, that's just an input that he's gonna try out.
It looks like there's something on his foot. That hits on the ground too?
Does it wall splat? I launch has
It's
had the wall.
It's a
that's
bird?
weird.
Let's check out his throws. Oh yeah, he's got a dog. Everyone knows he's got a dog though.
Thank you.
I mean, obviously.
I don't think they do back throws anymore for new
Introduced in
characters,
chapter
dude.
2.
It used to be
Hey,
really cool,
thanks
like
for
back
all
throws
the-
and side throws, but it doesn't really exist anymore. Because you like never really use them, so they were just this cool personality thing, fluff, and they just stopped doing it.
All the generosity, everybody. I'm at work right now, so I gotta stay focused. If you want, I'm sure you're thinking, man, I also love Final Fantasy 16 and Clive Rossfield. I need to find out more and how to get him now. Well, you're in luck because all you gotta do to get all that information is type an exclamation point, no pants, and a robot in the chat is gonna give you a link, and that's all you need right there. All the info you need. All day
How
long.
much did they pay him for like this stream? It's 2 hours, right?
Rose?
I mean,
Isn't
this
that-
stream is
isn't that
2
what I
hours
said?
and 4 minutes, so I bet they paid him
He's
for
saying
exactly 2
Rosefield.
hours,
Did I
and
say
they were up.
Rosefield?
He just, you know,
It's
he fucked
pronounced
off
Rossfield in
and
my
played a
country,
game that he actually likes.
where I'm from. It's no big deal. However you pronounce it, that's cool with me. Just type that in. Final Fantasy
Thank you.
16, best one if you ask me.
He's doing the like milk toast, non-controversial, highly marketable streamer, fence sitting, you know, which is, you know, the way you want to play it if you're being sponsored.
All day. Wow, you hold that down and it does a second hit.
Could we
Like the
sponsor
game.
a stream, or like I'll pay Eris for a 2-hour stream and it's just him
Let's look at his throws.
talking
That's his
shit
job for
about, or
one
like
throw.
saying what he actually thinks about Tekken 8.
And his 2 throw,
It's a sponsored stream.
simple.
Where he
Does
has
he
to
have
talk
side
shit.
throws?
Thank you.
No? Well, the reason he doesn't have side throws is because he doesn't have side throws in Final Fantasy. I mean, that makes...
No, because side throws have been removed, dude. The last game where new characters had side throws was 6. Eris didn't even play 7 that much, so he doesn't know that. But the new 7 characters, like Cooney, doesn't have side or back throws in 7. But like Lars has it and Elisa has it, and they are the coolest throws that those characters have. They're awesome. Lars has the neck break. Elisa picks you up and then drags you across the floor, dude.
Makes perfect sense.
They still exist. Yeah, they
In a
exist
way,
for the
that's
characters
like
that have had them
them
historically,
paying
but the new
homage
characters don't have them.
to the actual character. You know, in fact, if they had put side throws in, I would be frustrated as a fan. You know, it's just not the way it's written. You see? So,
Isn't Cooney spinny
let's check,
throw a side
the back
throw?
throw
Yes, but listen, you guys are fucking trying to sensei me on Tekken because I've been gone for a really long time. I fucking... Okay. I know what I'm talking about. The reason Cooney has the spinning side throw is because that's a side throw she was given in Tag 2. So they just updated the animation for 7. She didn't get any new like side or back throws in 8.
Oh man, iconic. I love that move, dude. That's sweet.
I mean, what a fucking gamble by Namco
I love
paying
all that.
Aris to do a stream on this character, because like he's popular enough that they want him to talk about it, but they also know for a fact that he's like this snarky, like sarcastic bitch now. So it's
So,
like,
man, I had a really funny morning
to what
today.
extent is he
See,
gonna
so
play ball?
The thing
But
that's
at the
gonna
same
probably
time,
happen
I
is-
think the people who are fucking stupid enough to like buy and play Clive in Tekken 8 are also stupid enough to not realize that he's doing this, you know, sarcastically. So maybe it's just like a slam dunk for Namco either way.
so many funny things happened today.
Hey, what's
That-
up, Oshka Moshka? Have any cool progressive takes lately?
I likely will remember them randomly.
Go to any cool
as I'm saying
demonstrations
things
or
that
protests?
are not funny, and I may laugh. This is just so you know what's going on here.
What's up with
Anyway, let me just
patriarchy
stay
lately?
focused. I'm trying out
Maybe
these
you can
moves.
give us an update,
how
because I'm
about-
out of the loop.
That's a sick move. That's a sick move, dude. Oh, that one's even better. Oh, that one's even better. That one's even better, dude.
Thank you.
That's how he jumps. It makes sense. You know, you gotta do a little green twist, jump kick. Does he have it? Oh, that's
He made a lot of newcomers fall in love with Tekken. Yeah, but then those newcomers played for 2 weeks, and then they went back to Roblox, and you know, we're at a net negative because he also like fucking alienated a bunch of veterans. But you know, at least the new kids fell in love with Tekken.
so he's not like a regular Tekken character. Why would he be a regular Tekken character? That's what I was thinking. You know, you don't want to add such an iconic character to a game like this and have him just follow the regular rules, right? Of course, what you want is to have special rules for a character like this because it's a special character, obviously.
Yeah, that makes
So,
perfect sense.
I for one am glad that they stayed true to the character and added these unique jump, animations.
True.
And, I appreciate that. I like that.
And it's so, because he's like talking about how he thinks the character is cool, and his chat is just like talking shit and making fun of Tekken the whole time. Thing is, like, Aris came from the Tekken scene originally. I mean, I think he's like originally a Soul Calibur player. I mean, he's a Soul Calibur Evo champion, right? But then mainly moved on to Tekken and like made his website around Tekken. So like a bunch of people in his like core community are people like him, and I guess me now, who are people who like used to really care about Tekken but don't anymore, because Tekken is like, unrecognizable fucking trash for casuals now. And so they're loving this because it's, they get the joke.
I still
you know?
haven't figured out what this tachometer on top is. Oh, the dog, of course. Dog fireball.
Iconic dog, the iconic dog, yeah.
Down one. Down two. Up forward, 1+2 grab. Hey, thanks for the strats.
I just realized I've never looked at like the animations for this character either. Like I quit before this
Cool,
character
man.
came out. I've never played a match against Clive.
All right, man. That's pretty cool. It doesn't even require any meter. Nice.
Avoiding the puddle is a
Any-
Yoshi
does it-
reference.
do you
Yeah,
need
it's a Yoshimitsu move where it's like a jumping kick move.
action points to do that? That is crazy. That is crazy.
Iconic throw.
Forward 1+2? What's that? Oh, it's his heat activation. Man, I love heat, dude. I really do. It is just like, it just took the franchise to the next level. Really. It's just like, not just in
All right,
implementation,
I've seen
but
enough of
also
this.
in concept.
Honestly,
It's just like
I
a
probably
good
should
idea. Simply just a good idea.
keep watching this
every-
because it's definitely more entertaining than watching, me talk or play games. But, I think I'm just going to end the stream and then watch the rest of this whenever. But I really missed you guys. It was cool talking to you. And again, give it another month, maybe 2, and I'll be back and I'll be streaming a lot. I mean, not this trash, but something. And the few of you who still give a shit, maybe we'll talk more then. But I mean, I doubt it. But if any of you are still playing T8 at all, it's difficult to walk away from a game when you've invested that much time and energy into it. But maybe it's like any addiction. You just need to get over some sort of withdrawal phase, and then you will have sort of post-nut clarity on the whole thing. So genuinely hope that as many of you as possible abandon the game because it's just not worth your time. And that there have been shitty entries in the franchise before, and the franchise has had rough spots before. I think that's why Main Man is chilling, because he's been through this entire cycle a couple of times. He's been playing it since the 90s, right? So he's like, okay, I'll just make hella bank playing this trash and talking to the chat for 10 years, and then eventually there's the next game and it's whatever, right? And maybe the next one will be good. Maybe it will be. It seems like Namco always build the next game on the lessons from the past, but the problem is that they always learn the wrong lessons. So who knows what we'll get next? But, maybe by the time Tekken 8 is in development, the current development team are, retired, and some competent people will make something pretty cool. And then we'll gather around the campfire the way, me and my 4 best friends who I learned this game together with would gather up on the weekend, and sit around the campfire that was Tekken and tell stories and enjoy each other's company. We'll show back up then, and I'll be, in my 40s, and you guys will be, at least 15 by then. And, maybe it will be pretty cool. We'll see. They paid to ruin this game. I think the community paid to ruin this game. Namco put the store there, and then, everybody who used it are complicit in ruining the game. But if what you care about is whether or not Eliza and Lily are actually sisters, if that matters to you, then all right. See you next time.